Hey there, Tasha here. Before we jump into today's episode, I have some exciting news. My brand spanking new book, Keto, A Woman's Guide and Cookbook, which is a reference guide, cookbook, and jam-packed resource to help women fine-tune their approach to keto, has been available for pre-order for a couple of months now. And I wanted to share with you, just really quick, what some of the readers have been saying. Nina says, "This book has everything I've been looking for and more. I never fully understood the keto diet until Tasha's book. It's not eating bacon and deep frying in butter. It's finding what works for your body. Macros can be so confusing, but Tasha breaks it down without all the nutritional jargon. It was easy to understand, and all of the free resources she provided were beyond helpful. I finally know how to make keto work for me. Thank you so much, Tasha, for making a book that everyone can enjoy." I love hearing that. And here's what another Amazon reviewer, T Wonder, had to say. "I'm only about a third of the way through, but I have to give this book a 5-star review now. I've stumbled around and tried keto before with some success, but this book explains everything and backs it all up with the research the author used. It's also easy to read, and you feel like the author is your cheerleader. This is going on my shelf along with The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living as my expert guides." So first off, thank you so much for taking the time to leave those amazing reviews of Keto, A Woman's Guide. What I love most is that these reviews were actually submitted when I first released my book, before my publisher asked me to do an expanded edition, complete with a recipe section and more visuals. Pretty incredible, right? So if you're getting started doing keto and want a step-by-step, no-nonsense guide to make keto work for you, or you've been doing keto for a while and want to hone in on the strategies and tactics that drive even better results, or you're tired of one-size-fits-all keto books not giving you enough depth and detail to understand how and why you might need to tweak things, this is why I wrote the book. Keto, A Woman's Guide and Cookbook will help you get laser-sharp focus on strategies that work for weight loss, improved fat burning, and hormonal balance. And it will also let you know what tactics you can stop wasting your time on. To be honest, when I wrote this book, I included all the things I wish I knew before starting keto. I wish I had something like this when I was getting started and trying to figure it all out, or even after I started and wasn't making the progress that I wanted. So here's the deal. If you're a woman doing keto or know someone who is, I want you to head over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, or your preferred online retailer and pick up a copy. Pre-orders help retailers know that there's interest in a title, so it really helps get the book seen in search results online and end up on the shelves in physical stores. And once you get your copy, if you could take the time to leave a quick review on Amazon letting me know how the book has helped you, I would appreciate it more than you'll ever know. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Hey there! Welcome back to today's episode. As promised, we're continuing on down our hormone journey. Last week, I geeked out on the menstrual cycle, and I will definitely be coming back to this topic in future episodes, but today I'm shifting gears and want to talk about stress and the impact stress hormones have on your body composition, weight loss efforts, and overall health. I figured it would be a good topic to cover because we're in the throes of the holiday season. In fact, this episode is scheduled to be released on Christmas morning. And while some people find this time of year to be full of magic and joy, there's a whole nother group with a totally different perception of what's going on. And they're getting really freaking stressed out about it. For every person totally stoked about the festive carols, cozy fireplaces, and lively company, there's another person frantically cleaning up before guests come over, panicking because the LOL dolls are out of stock everywhere, and crossing their fingers that their card doesn't get declined at the register, right? So we can all be experiencing the same thing and have completely different perceptions of what's going on. And some things that are not stressful to one one person could feel like the end of the world to the next person. So you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with dieting or weight loss? Why are we talking about stress on a keto podcast? Because perceived psychological stress can influence your hormones, which in turn can impact your weight and overall health. Okay? Stress isn't something that most people give much thought to when they're trying to change their eating habits or lose weight, but it can absolutely affect your progress and throw things out of whack, okay? A little bit of stress is totally normal, but when you're chronically stressed out, this can be the driving force behind a series of negative things happening in your body. The hormone most commonly associated with stress is cortisol, and chronically elevated cortisol resulting from high stress loads can be really damaging to your body, contributing to hormonal imbalances and negatively impacting your metabolism. Chronically elevated cortisol can drive insulin resistance, and this impairs your body's ability to effectively burn carbs for energy, and it's also more likely to promote fat storage. Chronic insulin resistance is also ultimately tied to chronic diseases like diabetes, PCOS, cardiovascular disease, okay? The other thing chronic stress can lead to is a leaky gut, where your intestinal barrier becomes compromised, allowing things to leak inside your body or leak into your body, okay? And these are things that you don't want leaking into your body. It's also called intestinal permeability. I am having a really hard time saying intestines. But if you think of your intestinal lining as a tightly boarded picket fence, preventing pests and nosy neighbors from getting into your yard and tearing it up, that would be what your gut should look like. Okay. The gut barrier in your intestines should look like that. But if the fence was damaged with big gaps and loose boards, lots of unwanted things would creep in and mess the yard up. So that's basically what's happening in your gut under high stress conditions. This can cause inflammation, and inflammation in and of itself can be really damaging throughout your body, contributing to insulin resistance and also affecting your weight. Okay. Cortisol competes with progesterone, which is the dominant hormone in the second phase of your menstrual cycle. And when cortisol steals this progesterone, this can lead to a lot of female health issues. It can affect your period, your fertility, and your body's ability to counter estrogen. Remember, progesterone balances out estrogen's effects. It's like the yin and yang of your menstrual cycle. So if there's low progesterone, this contributes to estrogen dominance, which in and of itself leads to lots of wonky, crazy stuff in your body, okay? Without going into a long conversation about that, low progesterone increases estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance is not good for your hormonal balance or any of your body's functions, basically. Chronically high cortisol also leads to water retention and fuels fat storage in the abdomen. So this negatively influences your weight, your metabolic health, and fat stored in the gut area, right around the middle. And that's actually another source of inflammation in the body. And I know it probably sounds like I'm repeating myself a lot with the insulin resistance, inflammation, oxidative stress, in pretty much every podcast episode, but the body's a system that wants to be in balance. And when something's off, these negative symptoms crop up. They're clues that our body's showing us to signal that something's wrong, okay? And all these things like insulin resistance, oxidative stress, and inflammation are all ways that your body's communicating with you that there's an imbalance that needs correcting. So it's common, and it'll probably come up a lot in the conversations we have here. Stress also drives emotional eating and binge eating, which of course can make your weight loss journey feel like even more of a struggle because your behavior doesn't actually match your goals, right? In short, chronic stress will not only negatively influence your ability to lose weight, but it can also bog down your health in other areas. So what in the heck are you supposed to do about this? When it comes to reducing stress, there's lots of things that you can try, but the most important thing to do is try to change your perception. Remember, we don't all react to each situation or scenario the same. What others perceive as stressful may not be stressful to us, and vice versa. So with these stressful scenarios, ask yourself why you feel stressed, because your thoughts drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your action or inaction. And a lot of times, you can't change the situations or events that are happening to you that are causing stress, right? You don't get to erase the holiday season from happening every year just because it's stressing you out. You can only change your perception of what's going on. And you'll hear me say this a lot, because it's something that I preach daily. I think it's really important. It's something I preach to my kids. I use it with myself a lot. And you aren't in control of everything, and that's okay. But what you are in control of is how you respond to the things that are happening to you, your thoughts. Okay, so that's where you start, changing your thoughts. And if you're stressed out by doing a keto diet or dieting in general, ask yourself why. This applies to every aspect of your life, not just eating behaviors, not just the holidays, not just keto. Like if you were to tell me, oh my God, doing keto stresses me out, I'd say, why? And maybe you'd say, because I feel like I have to do everything perfectly and I don't want to mess this up. That thought, that belief that you have to be perfect or that you could even mess this up, those are reflections of what you think and believe that could be really holding you back, okay? And those kinds of things are not motivating or fueling your progress. They're limiting you from learning and limiting you from taking imperfect action towards your goals. If you change your thoughts about this kind of stuff, whatever it is that's stressing you out, your feelings and actions will fall into line. Your thoughts drive your feelings and actions. And if you change your thoughts, you can change the way you feel and the way you take action. And I know that this is a lot easier said than done. I know that this takes practice, of course. Most people can't just go, oh, I'm happy now. I'm not stressed. You really do need to work on this, but this is the key. This is at the root of what's driving your feelings, is changing your thoughts, okay? And ways to do this, you could journal, meditate, positive affirmations. These are all great ways to really get in tune with your thoughts. You know, you don't always stop and think about what you're thinking, right? So if you take intentional time to practice this, you'll see results. You can take some time out of your day just to blow off steam, get clarity during a walk, a relaxing yoga session, head to the gym if you enjoy that kind of thing. Another thing, talk to a counselor or a friend, consider seeing a therapist or maybe a coach, like a life coach or a health coach, somebody that can talk you through this process that is familiar with how your thoughts drive your feelings and behavior. Just getting an impartial party or somebody that wants to help you succeed can be a tremendous help to, stepping outside of your limited worldview and how you perceive things. I'm serious. If you can find a way to have more control over your reactions to stress and how you perceive stress in general, you will be more successful in your efforts in every facet of your life. This applies to your personal relationships. This applies to your job performance or your business, okay? Not just keto, not just dieting, not just looking different, right? Not changing your body composition. Anything in your life is affected by this, okay? And you can see major improvements with a small shift. It's all mindset. Get to the bottom of your feelings. Ask yourself, why? Why are you feeling so stressed? And work towards changing that perception. To really get at the root of it, you might need to ask yourself why a few times. I'm stressed because there's going to be loads of dessert at this big event. And I would ask you, why does that stress you out? Well, it stresses me out because I don't want to cheat on my diet. And I'd say, why does that stress you out? You'd say something like, because I don't trust myself around food. And if I cheat on my diet, I'll ruin all of my progress. So let's stop there. What if instead of worrying about what's out of your control, like the fact that there's going to be dessert present and the what ifs, how you might potentially react or respond, what if you shifted your thoughts around all of this? Instead of your thoughts being, I don't trust myself around food, or if I cheat on my diet, my progress is ruined. Your thoughts are more along the lines of, I'm fully in charge of what I choose to fuel my body with, and I've made a lot of progress through eating healthy. One dessert won't stop me. See how that small shift in thinking sets a completely different stage for what you feel and do going into that situation. Guess what? You get to choose what you think, okay? How cool is that? So if you're speculating and guessing and driving yourself wild with hypotheticals and what ifs, stop. Please stop doing that. You can choose to think positive and feed those feelings and actions, or you can choose to think negative and feed those feelings and actions. There's a parable that my partner uses a lot when talking about this, and I think it's so appropriate for this discussion. So I want to share it with you here as we come to the end of today's episode. In the story, the elder is telling his grandson about the battle within people. There's a battle that goes on inside people. The battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It's anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf wins? And the grandfather simply replied, the one you feed. And with that, I will leave you. Stay positive, feed the good wolf, and until next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Ketogasm podcast. You are awesome. I really hope the show's added value to your keto journey. Making big changes to your eating habits can be a little tricky, but if you're taking the time to listen and learn about keto, you're well on your way. You got this. Be sure to visit ketogasm.com for the show notes with full transcripts, references, and resources to help you out, including a totally free course called Hello Keto. It's helped over 75,000 people start keto with confidence. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.